Good morning, children. Now I am going to explain you the new topic, that is periodic classification. What is the need of periodic classification of chemical elements or various types of elements that are present in nature? Different types of elements which were found in nature, it was difficult to understand the properties individually. So different scientists had put their effort to arrange these elements in different forms of group on the basis of their either atomic number or atomic mass or chemical properties, so that it becomes easy to understand the properties of many elements under one heading. Under this process, the first attempt was made by Daubigny. His theory was known as Daubigny's triad. According to his theory, he said that actually he made a group of three elements, that is three elements in one group. He arranged these elements on the basis of their atomic masses, and he said that the middle element is having the atomic mass equal to average of the first and the third element. He has tried to find out, and he was able to make these four types of group. The first group he tried with nitrogen, phosphorus and arsenic. He arranged these elements. He found that nitrogen, phosphorus and arsenic. Nitrogen having atomic mass 14. Phosphorus is supposed not known now, and arsenic atomic mass is 74.9. On taking the average of nitrogen and arsenic, he found that the atomic mass of phosphorus was found to be 31.0, and it was found to be the correct one. Similarly, he arranged chlorine, bromine and iodine, where he found that atomic mass of chlorine and atomic mass of iodine, if we take the average of these two, it was found to be as 79.9, which was found to be similar to atomic mass of bromine. Then later, lithium, sodium and potassium, another example, in which atomic mass of sodium, that is 23, was found to be the average of the atomic masses of lithium and potassium, that is 6.9 plus 39.0 divided by 2. And similarly, one more was there, calcium, strontium and barium, in which strontium atomic mass 87.6 was found to be the average between the calcium and barium. Though he has made a lot of effort in arranging these groups of elements, but his theory was a failure, as because he could not explain or he could not give more than these four groups of these elements, where he could arrange the atomic, or he could find out the atomic mass of other elements also. So after this, another theory came forward. Now the next theory that came forward was Newland Law of Octaves. This new law was given by Newland on the basis of the musical notes. He said that if the elements are arranged just like that of musical notes of sa re ga ma pa, and he found that every 8 notes, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 elements are arranged according to the musical notes, and every 8th element was found to be the repetition of the first note. On that basis, he tried to arrange the elements and then its work until some elements. But his work was also a failure, because he could not arrange all the elements present in the nature according to his law, that is the Newland Law of Octaves, that is 8 element arrangement. His law was a failure as because first it was not applicable for more elements. It was applicable only up till calcium. Only up till the elements calcium could get the place in its musical notes. But he could not explain the elements other than the elements from the calcium. Next, he said that next point of his failure was that he said there is only 56 elements in the nature. More other elements is not present and no more elements will be discovered. But his point was total failure, as because many new elements were discovered but could not find its place in his law, in his octaves series or its musical note system. Other elements which were discovered could not find its place. Third, and again the more important irregularity that we see in the Newland Law of Octaves is that he said that there are, in order to put the elements anyhow or set the elements anyhow in its table, he has arranged the cobalt and nickel. These two elements were given the same place. Okay, and that place was also given in the halogen series, that is with fluorine, chlorine, bromine and all. And though the properties of cobalt and nickel is quite different from chlorine, fluorine, bromine, but he has given it its place. So this was one drawback. And secondly, the iron was given, though it is having the same property like that of cobalt and nickel, was given a very far place than that of cobalt and nickel. So correct position of iron was also not there. So these were the points where Newland law of octave was a failure. Then again another law came forward. After the failure of Newland law of octaves, many scientists were still trying to formulate this table. On that basis, Mendeleev has done a very important work. Mendeleev was the scientist who was considered as the father of this periodic table because he has done a lot of work on that. You can see the table 5.4 in your NCERT book, where a complete table for the Mendeleev periodic table has been given. Or because it is not possible for me to draw all the big periodic table on the board, you refer to your NCERT book for what points I am going to tell to you in this video. Mendeleev has taken into consideration the atomic masses and physical and chemical properties. Actually, he has taken 2 points. He has taken atomic mass and their properties, physical and chemical properties, as the main source of classification of the elements. While arranging the elements, he has taken, actually main concentration was done by the Mendeleev was that he found that most of the elements were able to react with oxygen and hydrogen and forming then oxides and hydrides. And so on that basis, he has given emphasis to the properties as well of those elements. Actually, when Mendeleev was preparing his table, there were 63 elements discovered at that time. So what he has done, he has taken the cards of different elements, named the different elements, and then he started writing some properties on that card. After writing the properties, he then sorted out the properties which are very similar and then pinned up those elements on the wall. And while doing so, he found that most of the elements got its place and many elements were showing the repeated properties of physical and chemical properties after a certain interval of time. So he said that in that way he could arrange many elements on the basis of the atomic mass and properties. He found that some properties were very similar to the properties adjacent to the other element. So, and on this he given one law, Mendeleev periodic law, that is, it is the periodic functions of the element on the basis of their atomic masses. That means he arranged the elements on their increasing atomic mass and chemical properties. Though there are certain limitations and drawbacks of Mendeleev periodic table, which we will study and overcome this limitation in our next video, in which I am going to explain you about modern periodic table, which was given by Mosley.